Dark velvet curtains covered the walls, making the sounds of the Paris night quiet. The room was a sanctuary of shadows, a place where the outside world ceased to exist. The heavy drapes absorbed the noise, creating an eerie silence that was only broken by the occasional creak of the wooden floorboards. Gaslight flickered, making dancing shadows on dress dummies wearing Lilith's newest clothes. The flickering light added a sense of movement to the otherwise still room, as if the shadows themselves were alive, whispering secrets of the night. Each dress, a masterpiece of Gothic elegance, seemed to come to life under the wavering light. Lilith, a creature of the night, always young, watched from the shadows. Her presence was almost ethereal, a ghostly figure blending seamlessly with the darkness. She had an air of timeless beauty, her eyes reflecting centuries of wisdom and sorrow. She was the heart of this atelier, the dark muse behind every creation. Her eyes, like deep dark pools, were fixed on Amelia, a young seamstress, her needle flashing as she sewed. Amelia's hands moved with practiced precision, each stitch a testament to her skill and dedication. The dim light cast a soft glow on her face, highlighting her delicate features and the intensity of her focus. Lilith. And yet, I find myself drawn to her. There was something about Amelia that captivated Lilith, something beyond her beauty and skill. It was as if Amelia possessed a light that could pierce through the darkness that surrounded Lilith, a light that she both craved and feared, her beauty, her innocence, a bright light in the darkness of my life. Amelia's presence was a stark contrast to the gloom of the atelier. Her innocence was like a beacon, drawing Lilith in despite herself. It was a reminder of a world that Lilith had long since left behind, a world of light and warmth. Amelia, with her golden hair and innocent eyes, was the opposite of Lilith's eternal night. Her golden hair seemed to glow in the dim light, a halo of purity in the midst of shadows. Her eyes, wide and curious, held a spark of life that was both refreshing and unsettling to Lilith. Lilith's fingers, with their blood-red nails, touched a nearby dress. The contrast between her dark attire and the crimson of her nails was striking, a visual representation of her inner turmoil. The dress, a creation of dark beauty, was a reflection of Lilith herself, elegant, mysterious, and haunting. It was a beautiful, dark dress, just like Lilith. The fabric was rich and luxurious, with intricate details that spoke of hours of meticulous work. It was a dress that commanded attention, much like Lilith, and it seemed to hold a piece of her essence within its folds. But Amelia, with her simple grace and strong spirit, was something much more interesting, a light that could break through Lilith's shadows. Her presence was a breath of fresh air in the stifling atmosphere of the atelier, a reminder that there was still beauty and goodness in the world. Background seamstress. The workshop, usually filled with the sounds of sewing and Lilith's quiet voice, feels different tonight. Something's in the air. There was a tension that was palpable, a sense of anticipation that hung heavy in the air. The seamstresses could feel it, a shift in the atmosphere that they couldn't quite explain. The air felt heavy with Lilith's gaze, like a hunter watching its prey. Her eyes never left Amelia, filled with a mix of longing and fear. It was as if she was at war with herself, torn between the desire to protect the young seamstress and the fear of what her own darkness might bring. Every night, Lilith found herself more and more attracted to Amelia. It was a pull she couldn't resist, a magnetic force drawing her closer despite the danger it posed. The nights were long and filled with a yearning that seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. The sound of Amelia's skirts, rustling softly as she moved through the ancient halls, was like a haunting melody that played over and over in Lilith's mind. The soft smell of jasmine around her, it was like a sweet poison. Each breath she took was filled with Amelia's essence, intoxicating and overwhelming, making it harder for Lilith to keep her distance. Lilith, living forever, once my power, now feels like a curse, a wall between me and what I want. The immortality that once seemed like a gift had turned into a prison, keeping her away from the one thing she desired most. She watched Amelia's every move, every blink of her eyes, a study in forbidden longing. Each gesture, each glance was a reminder of what she could never have. The darkness inside Lilith pulsed, reminding her of what she really was. A creature of the night, bound by ancient laws and cursed with an unending thirst. The thirst, always there, grew stronger when Amelia was near. It was a constant battle, a struggle to maintain control and not give in to the primal urges that threatened to consume her. Lilith, but it's not her blood I want. It's something deeper, something more profound. It's her spirit, her light, everything she is. It's her spirit, her light, everything she is. Amelia represented everything that was pure and good, a stark contrast to the darkness that enveloped Lilith. Lilith, who had ruled the night for hundreds of years, now wanted something she could never have. The centuries of power and control seemed meaningless in the face of this unattainable desire. The shadows in the workshop seemed to grow darker, showing the turmoil inside Lilith, a storm growing beneath her calm surface. The conflict within her was like a tempest, threatening to break free and consume everything in its path. One night, Lilith couldn't hide her true self any longer. The moon hung high, casting an eerie glow over the landscape, and the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. It was on this night that Lilith decided to reveal her deepest secret. She showed Amelia who she really was, a being of the night, a creature of ancient power. The transformation was both terrifying and mesmerizing, a dance of shadows and light that left Amelia breathless. The workshop, usually busy with the hum of activity, was very still. The silence was almost palpable, broken only by the occasional creak of the old wooden beams and the distant hoot of an owl. The dress dummies stood like silent guards as Lilith, her eyes burning with a strange light, offered Amelia the gift of living forever. The goblet she held shimmered with a crimson liquid, promising eternal life but also eternal darkness. "Lilith, join me, and we will rule the night together." Her voice was a seductive whisper filled with promises of power and immortality. The allure was almost irresistible, a siren call to the depths of the night. Amelia, her eyes wide with fear and wonder, stepped back. Her heart pounded in her chest, torn between the desire for the unknown and the fear of losing herself to the darkness. The red liquid in the cup Lilith offered shimmered in the gaslight, a promise and a danger. It was as if the very essence of the night had been captured in that goblet, a potent mix of allure and peril. The air crackled with the power of Lilith's offer, the weight of forever hanging in the silence. It was a moment suspended in time, where the past and future seemed to converge in a single heartbeat. "Amelia," my hand shakes, not because of the cup, but because of the silver cross I hide under my shawl. It was a small, simple thing, but it held the weight of her faith and her humanity. It was a symbol of her faith, her humanity, the opposite of Lilith's darkness. In that moment, Amelia knew that the choice she made would define her forever, a choice between the light of her soul and the darkness of eternal night. Amelia said, her voice shaky but strong. She held the cross tightly, a silent prayer. The shadows in the workshop seemed to shrink back from her bravery. Amelia, the seemingly fragile seamstress, stood tall, her spirit a bright light against Lilith's tempting offer. "Amelia, you offer a prison, not freedom. I choose life, with all its happiness and sadness, its light and its dark. I choose to be human." Her words echoed in the room, a challenge to Lilith's power. The silence was deafening, broken only by Amelia's breathing and her racing heart. At that moment, Amelia was more beautiful than ever, her spirit shining brighter than any star. The shadows in the workshop seemed to deepen as Lilith's offer was refused. "Lilith, for the first time in centuries, I feel sadness." Amelia's rejection showed Lilith the emptiness of her own life. Lilith's inner voice. "The power I have, living forever, it all feels meaningless now." The workshop, once a safe place of shadows, now felt like a cage. Lilith's inner voice. "The smell of jasmine, once so sweet, now reminds me of what I can never have." A single tear, like a jewel in the dark, rolled down Lilith's cheek. Lilith's inner voice. "This tear, it's a tear of sadness, of loss, of knowing that some things, no matter how much you want them, can never be." The city, usually full of noise, seemed quiet, making the sound of Amelia's heartbeat louder. She didn't look back, afraid Lilith was still watching her. As the sun rose, painting the Paris sky pink and gold, Amelia finally stopped. She had escaped the darkness, her spirit strong. The rising sun felt like a promise of hope and a new life. The cross, warm against her skin, reminded her of her strength, her faith, and how precious life is. The silence was deafening, broken only by the ticking clock, a constant reminder of time passing. Lilith. Time that moved differently for Lilith, stretching endlessly in front of her. She was surrounded by beauty, by the clothes she had made. Lilith. But it all felt cold and empty without Amelia. The workshop, once a place of power, now felt like a tomb, showing her loneliness.